Margaret Tate is a Canadian executive editor-in-chief of a New York book publishing company. Due to her pushy personality, she is disliked by her employees. Margaret learns from her superior, Chairman Bergen, that her visa renewal application has been denied due to a visa term violation, and she faces deportation back to Canada. Not wanting to lose her position and life in New York, she blackmails her long-suffering personal assistant Andrew Paxton into marrying her, so she can get a green card. She reminds Andrew that if she is deported, his work as her assistant will be lost, setting back his dream of becoming an editor. U.S. immigration agent Gilbertson informs them that he suspects they are committing fraud to avoid Margaret's deportation. Gilbertson tells them that they will be asked questions about each other separately. If their answers do not match, Margaret will be deported to Canada permanently. Andrew will be convicted of a felony punishable by a $250,000 fine and 5 years in prison. Andrew insists that Margaret make him an editor after their marriage and publish the book he has been recommending to her. Margaret is forced to agree. The couple travels to Sitka, Alaska, Andrew's hometown, to meet his family. Margaret meets Andrew's mother Grace, and grandmother Annie, known as Gammy. During the trip to the family home, Margaret notices that nearly every shop in town carries the name Paxton, and learns that Andrew's family is wealthy. During a welcome home party, Andrew confronts his father Joe, who is angry about Andrew dating the boss he has so long disliked, and believes he is using her to get ahead in his career. After their argument, Andrew announces the engagement to everyone. Margaret also meets Gertrude, Andrew's ex-girlfriend. At the party, they invent how Andrew proposed to Margaret. The next day, Grace and Annie take Margaret to a local bar as part of her bachelorette party, to watch a strip dance by locally famous but over-the-hill exotic dancer Ramon. Stepping away from the show, Margaret learns from Gertrude that Andrew wants to become an editor, and make his own life, and that Andrew had proposed to Gertrude. However, Gertrude refused because she did not want to leave Sitka for New York. Margaret also learns of the conflict between Andrew and Joe. That night, Margaret asks Andrew about his relationship with his father, but Andrew refuses to talk. Instead, Margaret opens up to him. The next day, the family convinces them to marry while they're in Sitka. Margaret realizes how close and real Andrew's family is, which moves her deeply, mainly because of the deception. She gets on Andrew's boat and speeds away with him. She admits she has been alone since she was 16 years old after her parents died and had forgotten what it felt like to have a family. She lets go of the helm and stumbles to the back of the boat. Andrew turns sharply to avoid hitting a buoy, and Margaret falls out of the boat. Andrew quickly turns the boat around and saves her because she cannot swim. Meanwhile, suspicious Gilbertson has turned up in Sitka, ready to charge Andrew with fraud. Margaret stops the ceremony at the wedding by confessing the truth to the guests and Gilbertson. Gilbertson informs her she has 24 hours to leave for Canada. Margaret returns to the Paxton home to pack her things. Andrew rushes to their room only to find Margaret has already left, leaving his book manuscript with a note of praise and a promise to publish it. Gertrude attempts to comfort Andrew and asks if he will go after her. Another argument arises between him and Joe as he rushes out to find Margaret. Annie suddenly shows symptoms of a heart attack, causing her and the family to be airlifted to the hospital. She convinces them to reconcile before she passes away. After getting things moving again, she admits to faking the heart attack as it was the only means to get their attention. She tells the pilot to head to the airport, hoping to catch up to Margaret. Andrew's parents realize he really loves Margaret. He returns to New York and tells Margaret he loves her in front of the office staff. After they kiss, they go to Gilbertson and inform him that they are again engaged, but for real this time. Gilbertson questions Margaret, Andrew, Andrew's family and Ramon during the credits. Each of the answers proves Gilbertson right about them.